Donald Trump has been targeted not once, but twice in the span of a few months. And the media and the Democratic politicians keep playing it dumb about it. On Wednesday morning, Joe Biden's labor secretary went on national TV and said one of the most outrageous things any public figure has said in recent memory.
He says is the opposite. It's just another lie. Like, how did we get here? Let's extinguish him for good. We have an answer. We have a remarkably talented candidate who is sincere, who's pragmatic, who's open. Let's just get it done.
So she casually blurted out that she wants Trump, quote, extinguished. That's unbelievable. So Democrats, they try to defend themselves by claiming that Donald Trump is a threat, although he's not one in power right now. He's not the one weaponizing the government to go after his political opponents. Hank Johnson of Guam could tip over fame recently summed up this disingenuous narrative.
I'd like to know if you think it's time for Democrats to stop calling Trump a threat to democracy.
No, fact of the matter is that he is a threat to democracy.
No, I think we should be clear that he is a threat to democracy.
Do you think that the rhetoric, though, needs to be toned down?
I think his rhetoric should be toned down, absolutely.
Listen, these are the facts. He is a threat, period, point blank.
This dangerous rhetoric comes in the aftermath of two assassination attempts on the presidential candidate. And one of these attempts came inches away from killing Trump. It actually got his ear, and another man was killed. And the left is still not backing down from their inflammatory language. So to join me now to discuss all of the threats on Donald Trump's life and what he faces ahead in the 2024 election is Matthew Peterson, editor-in-chief of Blaze News, and Blaze media investigative journalist Steve Baker. So Steve, let's start with the comments that the labor secretary made, where she said, he should just be extinguished. Right? I think that we were supposed to be toning down the rhetoric, were we not?
I don't want to hear them make any criticisms of Trump saying we have to fight like hell January 6th. I'm tired of these comparisons. We make statements like that all the time, that we're targeting a district. That we all know what that means. These are innocuous statements. Fight like hell was said in the context of fighting to be sure that we had an accurate and a fair and free election. That's what he was referring to. He was not sending his Trump supporters over to the Capitol to fight like hell. In fact, he actually said the exact opposite, that they should go over and peacefully, patriotically let their voices be heard.
And other than that, it's like, what is the threat? I mean, what is the actual threat to democracy? I'm still wondering. Doesn't seem like democracy was shooken to the core when they threw all those people in jail after January 6th and still are every day. It's wearisome. It is wearisome. But let's get to the meat of the matter. We do have real news coming out, official report out about what the heck happened in Butler. So what do you make of this?
We have a new United States Senate Committee on Homeland Security releasing to us another 134 pages of not all new stuff. Some of it is a retread of news information that we already know, but there's some embarrassing moments in that report. I think the most embarrassing that I ran across myself, and actually was sent to me in an early morning text from a journalist from an actual MSM media company, and what he sent me was what he sent me was an excerpt from the report talking about how the counter-drone specialist. Now, the counter-drone specialist is the person that is going to take care of what really and truly most security experts believe is the biggest threat that we have today to any protectee's security, and especially outside, and for these outside events. And so the actual expert only had 3 months of experience and training on this system to begin with. He gets there at 10:30 in the morning, sets up his system. It's not working. He thinks he's getting signal interference from some other equipment. So he moves to another location on the farm site there. He tries again. It's still not working. So you know what he did for the next several hours? He called an 800 number and got tech support from the manufacturer of the counter drone system. They still couldn't get it to work. Now, at this point, now we remember that Crooks flew a drone about 3:45 for a few minutes, and then he was done making his surveillance. And guess what happened then? They finally figured out that they needed an Ethernet cable to make this system work, which they borrowed from the sound and light and audio visual
They always
company.
have them.
You're right. So they borrowed that. He finally gets it operational at about 4:30. This is an embarrassing.
So what's
failure.
worse, that or the fact that we know that the Secret Service was informed of the shooter 27 minutes before Trump was shot and didn't pull Trump off stage?
Yeah, we really knew about that. We had enough, and when I say we did, it may just been me and Joe Hanneman because of our sources.
Inside
that we had
sources,
there.
but now
Right.
externally,
Yeah,
people know.
externally, that's been revealed. That is embarrassing, but that goes back to the communication problem, which is something that should have been solved decades ago. This is not a new problem. This is a problem that has been worked on in so many other episodes before, including 9/11. It was supposed to have been solved, these interagency communication issues. It still hasn't. Now, that's either incompetency or they don't care.
Yeah, it's truly remarkable, and just every time you hear it, even when it's old stuff, it's still new to me because it's so shattering. It's unbelievable, and here we are. So we're going to trudge on with a good attitude and a winning spirit, and we're going to go to the second.
There we go.
Trump's life.
There it is.
Let's talk about the second assassination attempt, and Roof, what's the latest in that case?
The latest in that, actually, I want to first make a quick comparison between July 13th and then the West Palm Golf Course assassination attempt, because going back to the drone issue, we learned from the acting director of the Secret Service, Rowe, that they had, in fact, failed to put up their own drones, surveillance drones, in Butler, and that they had also turned down the offer from local law enforcement to use their drones. So now they already have a double embarrassment related to drones. Do we have any drones over the golf course in Florida? We don't know for sure, but we know that a drone with the right detection equipment would have seen Routh hours in advance because he was there for 12 hours before he was discovered.
Okay, let me throw one at you just because I've been wondering about this particularly myself and thinking about it, talking to other people. What if it's the case that they don't want to talk about drones that they have because, secret, even though anyone can buy a drone. So what if it's the case though that as the guy was walking out, right? Mm-hmm. They had a drone, like at that time.
If they had had one,
yeah,
it would have been great because they would have been able to track him for a long period of time at that point, and they would have found him sooner than they did from the stolen license plate that a bystander took a photo of.
Okay, but I swear initial reports that someone said they were able to track him with the drone initially. And then it just disappeared.
I have no confirmation of that whatsoever, and I absolutely do not trust whatsoever that they would withhold that because there's nothing classified about the existence of these surveillance drones. Right. Now, they may contain technology in a particular drone they don't want to talk about, but the existence should be talked about freely.
I watched the movie Enemy of the State. There's a ton of stuff. Once you get to the end of that movie, you're like, there's so much.
And Jill, let's not even talk about what year that movie came out in.
That's what I'm saying.
This is
you don't
not
want to know how
new
much
technology.
further advanced that is. Steve, thanks so much for coming on the show.